Can't be the guys that's going to be timid and not knowing what's going on. You play hard, you play together. I mean, that's all we ask.
This is what we all have to do.
Be locked in, focus, just be disciplined, all right?
Now I feel like Kyrie, I'ma have to take the shot. If they tryna call me dog, I gotta hit the block. Started from the bottom, but we made it to the top. And I told them time is money, that's why I don't ever stop. I got my black hoodie with a rollie on, eating pasta like Corleone. I don't got time for no fake boy. If you got the money, gon' show me some. I got 2 whips and I'm self-paid. Never got help, bro, I'm self-made. Started from the bottom, but we made it to the top. And I told them time is money, that's why I don't ever stop. Hey, what up, say? Whole month in the studio, so I'm locked in. My stock going way up, I got options. Yeah, they fine, but stop playing, you not him. Wait, the numbers going up.
You got 8 seconds to prove you're worth the price of admission. And you got Baylor Scott and White Health along for the ride. So square up. You got this.
MCC has definitely benefited me most on not only what I want to do, but who I aspire to be. Expect every professor to help you become who you want to be and more. Create your own success at MCC.
RJ's Bargain Center is your home team for appliances at unbeatable prices. From refrigerators to washers, dryers to stoves, you'll find brand new appliances with huge discounts. And just like your favorite local teams, RJ's is proud to support our community and local sports. Score your savings today at RJ's Bargain Center, 711 Lynn Street, Waco. Call 254-224-6178. RJ's Bargain Center, where big savings are always a home run.
Son, all your car needs now is a stereo system. Now I know just the spot to go get it. Man, Jack Stereo.
Oh yeah, they're the best. How'd you know about that place?
Probably that's where my dad took me.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm the coolest cat on the block.
Oh my God.
Need a new audio system for your new ride? Jack Stereo has been selling the best stereos and equipment for generations after generations. Come visit your local store today. Those in the know, go to Jack Stereo, Waco, Temple, Killeen, and Bryan College Station.
I've looked back at MCC with all these kids coming out here, these men and women starting their lives out here, starting their dreams and their visions of what they want to do for their family. Is the foundation for our community.
The plan is to go win.
Yes, sir.
Our girls set a goal that they wanted to win a national championship. They wanted to win a conference championship. That's been on the table from day one. And now we put ourselves in the position to do that.
Pitch hit in the air and deep to left field. Going back is Rayvon Morgan at the wall. He leaps and he makes the catch for the third out.
Too much to give in. If you think it's over, then let's start it again. The planet's alive, the stars burn bright, the sun goes down, we keep going on now. Going back down, the moment is now. Don't miss out, we're never turning around. That is your
Going back in into it, it'll go all the way to the wall. One run is scored. Rounding third, coming home to score is Aiden Cooney.
Catch me if you can. We're renegades.
It's this one here, deep right field. It is treetop tall and over the wall.
We're renegades.
Hits the first pitch down the right field side. That's going to be it. Touching third and coming home is the winning run. Carson Boca give a RBI double to Blake Hansen. And the Highlanders walk it off and win by a score of 10-9.
We're renegades.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, as we get ready to bring you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here locally in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here on this Tuesday evening. Hope all is going well. We just wrapped up another week in the NFL. We'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys and all that they have going on, not just the game last night, but they've been very active even after the game last night as well. We'll talk about the NFL trade deadline that is approaching. We're seeing teams scrambling, trying to get different guys. We'll talk a little bit about some high school football, talk about some of the players we like from last week. And, of course, we got to touch on some college football as well, folks. We'll be covering some college football. We'll talk about Baylor getting back in the win column. We'll talk a little bit about the Longhorns as well. And then we always do our Big 12 report here weekly to talk about the different teams in the Big 12. Kind of crazy week, or kind of a crazy season so far in the Big 12, if you ask me, because none of the guys we thought would be at the top, outside of a couple, are at the top. Some of the teams we thought would be at the top are at the bottom, and we'll talk about some of the coaching vacancies as well. So make sure you guys are tuning in here, Centex Primetime today. I want to thank everybody for watching with us, whether you're watching over on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV, or if you're watching on our website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. That is CentexSportsNetwork.com. Make sure you guys go on there. Free subscription. Just need your name and your email to get signed up. You'll be able to catch all of our content. We just wrapped up volleyball season at MCC, but basketball season is on in full force right now. Tomorrow, the women's team will be traveling out to Brenham to take on Blinn College. That is tomorrow at 5:30, so make sure you guys are tuning in for that. And this weekend, MCC men's team will be in action at the Joe White Classic up in College, up in Hillsborough. So make sure you guys are ready for that this weekend. They play on Friday and Saturday. Of course, you'll be able to catch all that action right here on Centex Sports Network. And we have Friday Night Flex. Last show of the regular season will be this Friday as we cover all things high school football here in the Central Texas area. 6 o'clock to 10 p.m. Make sure you guys are ready to tune in for that as well. Myself, Wayne Walker, Rocky Miller will all be back in the building to be able to cover some more high school football. Well, folks, like I said, got a lot to cover here today on all three levels of football, high school, college, and the NFL. So we're going to jump straight into it. Joining me in here today on the show, calling in with us, we got a familiar voice and face to the show, Mr. PJ Gaither in the building with us. PJ, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Jalen, man? We got a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of stuff going on in college and NFL, a lot of different coaching vacancies that we're seeing right now, really across the country, not even just in the SEC. A lot of movement right now with the trade deadline happening today. Basketball too in the NBA world has been really electric. So we got a lot to talk about, really catch up on.
Yeah, a lot we got to cover here today, and not to go off topic, but you alluded to the coaching vacancies and all over college sports, but especially the SEC. I said the other day, I can't remember a time where there was this many vacancies in the SEC. We're talking about prime job. Any job is a good job in the SEC. But we're talking about prime jobs in the SEC, not just, Mississippi State or Vanderbilt, not throwing any shade at them, but just not small schools. We're talking about Arkansas, LSU, Florida, blue chip type of schools that have openings. Can you remember any time where it's this many coaching vacancies in the SEC?
Trying to think.
I couldn't think of anywhere. Not blue chip schools like this.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I don't really remember a time. And the biggest thing is, with all these different coaching vacancies, like who are y'all going to hire? I feel like a lot of these schools need to really step it up a little bit. Some, I feel like that they possibly shouldn't have fired their coach, at least not the head coach. I feel like you should have fired maybe like coordinators. Mm-hmm. But, in the NIL era that we're living in right now, when you got guys like Kurt Signetti up in Indiana, who has them rolling in the number 2 team in the country, I feel like a lot of these ADs and really just the entire board of directors at these colleges, they're kind of getting, they're getting tired of, the whole thing of, it's going to take 4 or 5 years, to them, they feel like now with NIL and the transfer portal that it shouldn't take that long for your team to prosper. But I mean, it's a lot of things that goes into that. It's a lot of things that goes into also recruiting and just, all around the board, really. Just making your team be a better team over time. But personally, I don't remember a time like this. I really don't know where a lot of these guys are going to start looking at. I don't know if they're going to start trying to snag coordinators from different colleges or whatever. I know Lane Kiffin has been in talks, but he said he kind of did like Sarkisian and said that really wasn't on his mind at all to really leave Ole Miss, and I believe him. I don't see him leaving Ole Miss. He has Ole Miss rolling ever since he's been there, and they look like one of the better teams in the SEC right now, if not the country.
Yeah, Ole Miss definitely at the top of that. And we're gonna talk a lot of college football in the second hour, but I don't know. We're gonna revisit that Lane Kiffin one, Pete, because I think this dude, Florida, somebody offer him a bag. I think it's a lot better to live in Gainesville with a bag than it is to live in Oxford, Mississippi with a bag. So that's kind of an interesting one, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. First, we got to get to your Cowboys, man. First order of business, got to cover the Monday night game last night. Nothing spectacular, just, lackluster play out of the Cowboys. We got used to the defensive side of the ball being bad, but I don't know what's going on the last couple of weeks. Dak hadn't had that same mojo going. They were able to run the ball somewhat last night, but it hasn't been, or it doesn't feel as consistent as the first 5-6 weeks of the season when it felt like Javonte Williams could run whenever he wanted to. Hasn't really looked like that the last 2 weeks. CD and George Pickens get involved, but not much action there. He threw one touchdown to Flannery in the second half of the game, actually in the fourth quarter of that game. And to that point, they hadn't scored an offensive touchdown. So the Cowboys lose to now the Arizona Cardinals without their starting quarterback, another team that's sitting at 3-5 on the season as well. What do you think about the Cowboys losing last night, and then do you think the Cowboys' playoffs hopes are almost over with them losing to the Cardinals last night?
I was kind of disappointed. I didn't really let it get to me too much just because, I did for a sec, but not as bad after a while just because it's this kind of what we've been seeing all season. This was our first time losing back-to-back games, though, this season.
Yep.
But the defense is just terrible, really on every level. We don't get any pass rush. Jadeveon Clowney had a really good game last night. Dante Fowler, he showed some good plays, throughout the game. And Ezraku, the rookie, him as well. He kind of, I would say, honestly, I feel like he was one of the better players on defense last night. But we really don't have a really good D-line, honestly, and our linebackers aren't really that good as well. The DBs is probably our weakest point on the defense, to be honest. And it showed last night with Marvin Harrison, the way he was doing Deron Bland. We just have to leave him on the island because it wasn't like he was getting beat over the top or anything. He was just getting beat by comeback routes, just basic things, you know what I mean? Yeah. Basic routes. They wasn't really running anything crazy. They was killing us underneath with a lot of the underneath routes. None of our linebackers could really even, I don't know what was going on, but they see the running back come out the backfield and they don't go and try to, I don't know. We just wasn't on point, but we haven't been on point all season defensively. Offensively, we showed some good signs, throughout the game, but we just couldn't really click as well as we had been for the majority of the season. And it kind of showed last week as well that we weren't clicking too. So it kind of just went into this week. To me, playoff hopes have been kind of going. I never, this isn't a playoff team. When your defense is statistically one of the worst defenses in the league, then you just can't be a playoff team. The only team that has a worse defense than us is the Bengals.
They're terrible.
They're terrible, and they're in the same boat as we are. You know what I mean? Being able to score all these points, but just can't stop no one. But this isn't a playoff team. Just the way they operate, the way they carry themselves, this isn't a playoff team. We probably got a playoff offense, but we don't have a playoff defense. And I don't really know where to start as far as what we need to do. But we're just not a good team. So the playoff hopes is over. Definitely after last night, kind of disappointing night because this is a game that you have to win. You have to win and when you're in a predicament like this Cowboy team is, you have to win that game last night. And so the way they lost the game, and just, everything, how the whole night went, just kind of, that was disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the defense has been terrible all year. But last night, I'm officially all the way off for the Cowboys making the playoffs. I thought they had a small chance of being able to make it because of this offense. But when you're Dak Prescott and you don't score on the Cardinals, not when they're playing the Eagles or somebody else, they got a tough schedule coming up still. But these are the penciled-in wins. These are the ones you look at the schedule early in the season and say, all right, let's put a W next to this one. And I know that's why they go out there and they play the games. I get all of that. But you're playing against the Cardinals who aren't good with the backup quarterback. It's not even Kyler out there. This is a backup. Even though, shout out Jacoby Brissett, he's running the offense better than Kyler Murray was, and that's a whole nother conversation. But these are the games you have to win. If you're trying to make the playoffs, because the NFC isn't all that this year. NFC hasn't been all that for the last couple of years. They have good teams, obviously, with Philly and the Lions, stuff like that. NFC East is off this year. Commanders are going to be down now that Jaden Daniels is probably out for the season. The Giants are always going to be the Giants. So you're looking optimistic in the division. Hey, maybe you can sneak out second place. But when you go out there and put a performance up like this against the Cardinals, where you're struggling to put the ball in the end zone against a defense like the Cardinals, you're losing a game where your defense, as bad as they have been, they held somebody to 27 points. That's almost a win on the defensive side of the ball because they've been giving up 30s and 40s all year long. They hold these guys to 27 points, and you can't even crack 20 points. That's an issue if you're the Cowboys, but I'm agreeing with you, man. It's time to stop looking at these guys as potential playoff guys. Even if they do make the playoffs, they're going to lose by 1,000 in the first game they play. So you're kind of off of them at this point. And that kind of segues straight into the next point I have about the Cowboys is what in the world are they doing at the trade deadline? All right, you're sitting at 3-5-1. You're probably not making the playoffs. You're still optimistic. Hey, you can put wins together. That's still enough. It's not like they've lost 10 games already. They can still put some wins together and go out there and try to make the playoffs. But you're risking your future. When they made the trade for Logan Wilson, for those of you that don't know, Cowboys made a couple of trades today. Jerry Jones alluded to it last night. He said, hey, I've got my eye on some trades, and I'm probably going to have to pull the trigger after tonight, which I already was wondering last night, like, okay, what has Jerry Jones got up his sleeve? They come out today, they trade for Logan Wilson, a decent linebacker from Cincinnati, give up a 7th-round pick. I'm not mad at that. You just want to pick up some extra linebacker help, I guess. That's cool, whatever. Your linebacker core is one of the worst in the league. Kenneth Murray might be the worst linebacker I've ever seen at this point with how some of the way he's played this season for the Cowboys. He's terrible. So you want to replace him? I get it. But then you backdoor that, and you give up a 2nd-round pick and a 1st-round pick for Quinnen Williams. Now, I'll start with saying this. Quinnen Williams is one of the better D tackles in the league. I like Quinnen Williams. He's a really good player. He's a lot better than Kenny Clark, even though they made a trade for a nose already earlier in the season. He's better than Kenny Clark. I get it. But the dude is almost 30 years old. You give up a 2nd-round pick and a 1st-round pick, mortgage in your future, to pay another D tackle $20-something million. That now gives the Cowboys 3 D tackles making $20 million or close to $20 million. With Odigizua, who they paid in the offseason, them trading for Kenny Clark with the Micah trade, and then you backdoor do this deal with Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams is a good player, but what are they doing? Why trade for him right now in the middle of the season, on a season you're probably not going to make the playoffs, mortgage your future like that with the picks, these picks that you need so bad? That's why you went out there and made a trade for Micah Parsons. I don't know what the Cowboys are doing, and I realized this probably earlier on, maybe in the summertime when they were talking about trading Micah and then actually did it. The Cowboys don't know what they're doing. Jerry Jones is still making football decisions, which is very, very, very bad. I hope nobody would ask me to help them learn how to speak Chinese because I don't know Chinese. So therefore, we shouldn't ask Jerry Jones to make football decisions, and he knows nothing about football. He knows about building businesses. He knows about making money. He does not know anything about football. Now they have 3 D tackles making $20+ million a year, but you couldn't pay Micah Parsons. You trade Micah Parsons because he wanted money, but you kept Trayvon Diggs, who got a concussion that he got at home that you're paying a bunch of money. Deron Bland that y'all paid right after you traded Micah Parsons, and he's out here being your leading tackler because he's getting beat every play, including almost tearing his ACL on a one-on-one 1-yard route against Marvin Harrison Jr. I have no idea what the Cowboys are doing. Cowboys have no idea what the Cowboys are doing. PJ, what do you think about the two recent trades that the Cowboys have made before we talk about the other NFL trades?
I didn't really want us to make any trades today just because I feel like it would be a waste to me for the season. It's the middle of the season. I really don't see no reason trading for anybody or trading for any, picks or anything of that nature, giving picks up to guys for anyone really right now, because we really need the picks that we can get because we're in a rebuilding phase right now. That's the only way that this team is going to get back to what we're used to them being like, in these last few years when they was going to the playoffs, is we're going to have to rebuild from the draft, not through trades. And, you probably snag some guys and put some pieces in certain places that's going to make the team better, but we need to get a younger, fired up defense, similar to how the Eagles have done really, in the last like 5 years, I would say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, throughout the draft. That's something that we're going to have to do instead of going to go get some guys. And I like Quentin Williams. He's pretty young still. He's a really, really good defensive lineman. But no offense to Logan Wilson, but I wouldn't get anyone from the Bengals right now.
That's the same thing I'm thinking.
I wouldn't get nobody from the Bengals. So we going to go get guys from the Bengals, and they the worst defense in the league, so it really don't make sense to me. So I didn't really want us to trade for anybody because our worst case scenario is if we trade for these guys, which we did today, let's say that they come in and like 3 games into, them being with us, they get hurt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I hope that doesn't happen to anyone, but that's a possibility. You got to, all possibilities got to be on deck whenever, speaking on, the NFL, just football, period. So that's a possibility. So I wouldn't want to even waste these guys' time. You know what I mean? When we can go, it's so many. If you want somebody in the D-line, bro, it's a lot of guys coming out this next draft is going to be really good. One of the main guys I'm looking at is Reuben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Monster. If we got plenty of guys, man, coming out next year. A lot of edge guys. Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. What's the kid at Texas Tech? He's pretty good. The guy I really want us to get is Colin Simmons, but he doesn't come out until next year.
Mm-hmm.
Since he's a sophomore. So, but there's so many guys right now in college football that you can kind of just put your eye on and bank on, that can help this team. But going into the trade deadline right now and getting anybody, to me, that's just a waste of time. I don't really know, man. We already don't really have that much money right now to just kind of flow around.
No.
And so just giving extra money to guys who I personally don't think does not necessarily deserve, but they don't deserve as much money that they're getting paid. You know what I mean? It's not that they don't deserve a contract. They just don't deserve as much money that we're giving them. And they're not the only guys. We have plenty of guys on this team. I mean, our quarterback is one of those guys on this team that I honestly don't believe he deserves as much money, even though he's played crazy good this year. We got guys like, no, we haven't won no championships. We haven't gotten to the NFC Championship game. We barely make it to the divisional round. So when that's the case, then guys don't deserve $92 million, $100-some million that we're giving them. Deron Bland, we gave him 4 years, $92 million.
$92 million.
And he's getting cooked on a 2-yard slant at the goal line.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't get that. Hey, we got in the YouTube, Kwanji says, running the table, we got a 7% chance to make the playoffs, calling it now. He said, got Williams till 2027. Shotty said the scheme will be a heavy 5-2 from here on. I wasn't trying to interrupt you, PJ, but some things just had to be addressed. If you got some of the worst corners, you have some of the worst DBs in the NFL, and you think the way that the Cowboys will solve this is by switching to a 5-2 defense with 5 defensive linemen? What? What?
It's not going to. It's not. That's not going to work when we don't have not one of our. I thought Wanye Thomas was going to be better, but Wanye's not even good right now. We don't have the guys in the back end. Our defensive backfield is terrible. So it doesn't matter how many defensive linemen that we got. We can even start getting pressure on the QB more. We just got our second sack of the season last night. So it doesn't matter it doesn't matter how you try to switch whatever defense that you switch. This is just a historically bad defense, and it's going to take more than just changing up the scheme and just putting two pieces onto this defense to make them better. It's going to take a lot of guys. A lot of these guys, I'm just going to be honest, they can't be here no more. A lot of these guys got to go. A lot of the DBs, they got to go. Some of these guys we paying all this money to, they got to go. We got to empty up some of this cap space so that we can actually get some guys, and so that we can actually put money towards the right people, and also go into the draft and draft, actually have a decent draft. Actually go and draft a safety that I've been asking for that, I feel like, for like 15 years now, probably 20. Go get a decent safety. We have not had a good safety since like Roy Williams.
Yeah.
We really haven't had a good safety. Like, we have not had a good safety at all. We've had some guys that came in, and like Jeff Heath, and they probably had one good season.
Yeah.
But we haven't had a consistent good. Yeah, Curse. Yeah, we haven't had a good. Even Donovan Wilson had one good season. But we haven't had a. Yeah, now look at him. we don't have no good DBs. Trayvon Diggs is out here getting, and that's our main guy. That's our main DB. That's our main corner, and he out here getting concussions at home. What are you doing?
After getting cooked for 5 weeks straight.
For 5 weeks. Just say you don't want to play. Just say that you don't want to play at this point, because your guy, your best friend, is gone to the Packers, and now you don't want to play. Just say that. I already say that, then say, oh, I got a concussion at home. What were you doing? Then we got Deron Bland. He's getting cooked all night last night. He's been getting cooked all season. All last night. All season. Every team, them boys had a career day against us. Marvin Harrison had a career day.
He's never looked like
Jacoby Brissett.
His whole time in the league, he has not looked like that.
Never. Jacoby Brissett literally had his first rushing touchdown last night since he had been with the Browns in 2020. Dudes had a career day against us.
The Cardinals.
Trey McBride, the Cardinals. We make everybody look good. You know that when you lace them up against the Cowboys defense, that you're going to have a day. If you didn't have one yet, you're going to have a good day against us. So, man, no, moving into what you said, a 5-2, whatever.
A 5-2 defense, bro.
That ain't gonna work, man. Because no matter what we do, this is historically a bad defense, and it's trickling down to the offense in the last 2 weeks. Because you're seeing these guys not really clicking, guys fumbling the ball. I think we had like 4 fumbles last night, and it wasn't really that they were even just shutting us down. I feel like we really just looked it was no enthusiasm, like no type of sense of urgency or anything with the offense last night. And I feel like that's coming from just weeks and weeks and weeks of just playing with a terrible defense. You know what I mean? So, that happens in the locker room, man. That happens, So, this just, like I said, it's a historically bad defense. We wasted our time really with some of these trades. I hope Quentin Williams pan out, because I actually really do like him. I hope Logan Wilson as well, but I'd rather go get a linebacker in the draft. And we supposed to have guys, man, at linebacker. I feel like we always drafting a linebacker. Overshown, I know he's been hurt and everything, so I'm hoping whenever he can get back, he can really, show up for us. But if not, we got a lot of dudes coming out in the draft. Texas own Anthony Hill coming out. You got a lot of guys, so I just want us to really utilize the draft. Honestly, I can care about this trade deadline.
I just want to know what direction the Cowboys are going in. I think that's what everybody wants to know. If you make the trade for Micah and you say we're going to get picks, because you get picks, then we'll be able to draft good. So that means you're planning on being good in the future. But then you backdoor and make trades for 30-year-olds who are going to be old in the future in 2 years when you draft these guys that you got for Micah. Kenny Clark's already 30. Quentin Williams is 28 years old. Trayvon Diggs is in his mid-20s. DeRon Bland is in his mid-20s. Dak is in his 30s. What year is the plan for, like, this is the year we're going to be good? Because there's too many holes on the team for you to just trade for a Quentin Williams after you traded for Kenny Clark, after you paid Odigizua $80 million. It's just not making sense anymore. Let's just get another D tackle. How about the Cowboys go and trade for another defensive? They got 3 already that's making $60, $70 million between the 3 of them. Maybe just add a 4th guy. So then you can spend $100 million on one room. Then you go to the other side of the ball. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb look like the best receiver duo in the league. You got to make a decision this summer to pay George Pickens, or that's over with. So then you're right back in the same predicament your offense was in last year. Like, there's just too many questions. What is the plan? Is the plan just trade for people because Jerry Jones gets mad? Because that's exactly what we're watching in front of us. Jerry Jones is getting mad that they're losing and saying, I'm going to trade for people. Because we traded Micah, so now I got to justify the Micah trade. So now I'm going to just go and start trading people. And now I'm going to go get Quentin Williams, good player, but you just got 2 defensive tackles. And you're still not stopping the run with the 2 defensive tackles you got. Jacoby Brissett just put up a 30-piece on you. Jacoby Brissett. DeRon Bland is getting $100 million, and he's getting cooked by a receiver that's not top 30. Like, those are issues. As you said, they still don't have a safety. They've never had a safety since Roy Williams. There's just so many holes on the team, and you think, well, let's give up a first and a second and go get this guy. And then what are you supposed to do with Odigizua? Is he not playing now? Or you have a guy coming off the bench making $20 million a year now?
$20 million a year.
Coming off the bench in football. You're going to have $20 million coming off the bench. It's just not making any sense, man. Somebody try to justify this to me because it's not making no sense. As I can see already in the comments, Cowboys fans trying to justify what's going on. There's nothing to justify here. The point is Jerry Jones is making horrible football decisions, and until he stops making football decisions, we're going to keep seeing this out the Dallas Cowboys because I don't even know what to think after this. Your defense is terrible. You go on and making more defensive trades. Defense still going to be bad. Then now your offense is not able to get any production too. I don't know what's going to happen with the Cowboys, but let's talk about some of these other trades that's going on in the NFL because the Cowboys wasn't the only trade that happened. The biggest trade that was made, biggest news that was made, Sauce Gardner headed to the Indianapolis Colts, and this is what you call getting a haul for a player. I think the Micah Parsons trade was a decent deal. You got a first-round pick out of it. You got Kenny Clark out of it. I guess that's cool. Sauce Gardner gets traded, 2 first-round picks from the Indianapolis Colts, and Adonis Mitchell out of Texas that they just drafted last year in the 2nd round. So essentially 2 first and a second is what you're getting for Sauce Gardner. One that shows Indianapolis is all in right now. They're not playing around. They're saying, hey, we don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be good. Before we figure out any of that stuff and we got to pay Daniel Jones, whatever we're going to do, let's try to go in all in right now and go get a guy like Sauce Gardner, something they needed in the secondary, probably the only real weak point of their defense. It was the secondary. And a guy that they can't just put on somebody and say, hey, go lock this guy down. Now, I know Sauce has been up and down the last couple of seasons, but he's still a top 10 corner in my opinion. Still a young dude. He can build your secondary around him. You get Cam Bynum in the free agency last year or this past summer. You still got Kenny Moore out there as well in the slot. I like the move for Indianapolis. They gave up a lot in the 2 first-round picks and A.D. Mitchell. But who do you think you're going to draft in those 2 first-round picks if you're going to be, I don't know, I think they're going to win 13, 14 games this season. So you're going to be picking at the end of the first round anyway. Why not go and get a game changer like a Sauce Gardner, put him out there on the defense with a team that's already clicking and rolling? Makes sense in my opinion. What you think about the Sauce Gardner trade to Indianapolis?
I like it. I think with Sauce, because like you said, I was talking to some people and I even told them that he has been down. I'll say probably what you think, probably the last 2 seasons maybe?
Yeah, definitely last 2 seasons, but honestly ever since his rookie year.
Rookie year, yeah. He kind of declined a little bit. I don't know if it's all just on him, though. I would say some of it has to do with just playing for the Jets. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, he played for the Jets, so I feel like the scheme kind of wasn't really fitting him. And they're not really one of those consistently good, you know, teams, definitely when it comes to coaching. So, sometimes, man, you see a player, man, they kind of have some down years and then they kind of get sparked back once they get traded to a team that actually look like they're going up. And the Colts is one of those teams that they're kind of looking like they're going up right now. I consider them one of the better teams in the league right now. They got the leading rusher. Everybody on that team, they really play team ball. Michael Pittman, all them guys, man, they look really good. So I like the Colts. I think it'll fit really good for him. I feel like he's somebody that they needed, to be honest, at corner. So I like the trade.
Yeah, I think, man, if you're going for a Super Bowl, you're going to have a guy out there at corner at some point. Not just somebody sitting around. You're going to have a guy unless you got a crazy pass rush. Indianapolis got a pretty decent pass rush, but they needed a guy that they can depend on out there in the secondary. That guy is definitely going to be Sauce Gardner for them. I'm like you. He has declined a little bit the last couple of years, but that could just be because he's playing for the Jets. That's because they're playing man every play for 4 years, and you one-on-one with a guy for 4 years, and you're losing every time. Well, maybe you're going to lose some of that steam that you have to go out there. It's already the hardest position to play in the NFL outside of quarterback. You're chasing the guy around. It's a little harder to chase the guy around when you know you're playing for nothing, when you're going to lose by 20-something every single game. The Jets are still the only winless team right now in the league. They get rid of their two best players on the defensive side of the ball with Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams. So it's clearly a fire sale over there. I think Breece Hall probably wanted to get traded. He said he was sad about his guys leaving. I think he's more sad that he didn't join them and get traded to somewhere else as well, because the Jets are a dumpster fire as usual. That's what the Jets always are. But I like the move with him going out there and making a move to get out there to the Indianapolis Colts. I like the Colts being aggressive, not just sitting around and waiting on something to happen. Hey, we're going to go get a guy. He's locked up for the next 4 years. He got a 4-year, $120 million deal. So I think that's a big move. I think that's a big move for the Colts, going out there and getting him. And when they get Javarius Ward back, I know he was hurt, got hurt in pregame or something like that. When they get him back, man, that secondary is going to be special when he gets out there for them as well. A lot of teams made some moves, man. I think Seattle added Shaheed out there as well to go along with Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba in their receiving room. I like what Seattle has been able to do. Baltimore was active. Philly was active going to get him Jordan Phillips. I think that was huge, man, getting an edge rusher out of Miami, a guy that really had a great season, I think, a year ago before he tore his ACL, trying to get back in his rhythm this year. They give up a third-round pick for him for a guy that's a first-round pick type of potential. So I like that move for them. They go and shore up some spots in the secondary. They get Jair Alexander, and I know he played bad in Baltimore, but a new scheme could probably help that. And we know he can play. At the end of the day, dude still got his instincts, and if you put him out there one-on-one in man coverage, you can expect him to play decent. So I like them going and picking him up as well. Eagles making moves. Some teams made some moves to get some much-needed players, man. And I don't think outside of the Cowboys trades, there really wasn't a shocking trade or something that I said, why did they go and trade for that guy? I think everybody's trades kind of made sense that made some noise in the trade deadline. So we'll be keeping an eye on these guys, and we'll honestly won't know until we get a couple of games under the belt of these new players getting traded out there. I think the Saints traded away Trevor Penning to the Chargers. That was huge for them because between Joe Alt and what was the other left tackle's name? I can't think of his name. Keep getting hurt, though. They got two of the best tackles in the game, but they keep getting hurt, so that was huge for them going out there. Yeah, they drafted him out of Northwestern a couple of years ago. It's going to hit me again, but I can't remember who it was. I think that was big for them, though, going out there and getting the left tackle for the Chargers, because the Chargers are right there in contention to be able to win their division. I said before the season started, I had the Broncos winning the division and not the Chiefs. First time the Chiefs won't win it in I think about a decade. Right now, Broncos looking like my pick is going to be right, but the Chargers are going to be right behind them. So I like the Chargers going and adding a little bit of depth on their offensive line as well. Even the Ravens. The Ravens made some good moves. They traded Jair Alexander away, but they stayed active. They get Draymond Jones from Tennessee, bring him over as an edge rusher. I think that's going to be big for Baltimore as well. They got some more help in the secondary. out there in Baltimore. So I think Baltimore is one of those teams that even though they started slow, they'll be able to turn it around out there. I want to talk about a couple of these games before we switch off of the NFL here, P. Some more games happened this past weekend. Some surprises, I guess you could say, this past weekend. What do you think about Buffalo getting a win over Kansas City? We talked about it yesterday. Me and Wayne were up here. I think they're 4-1. Buffalo's 4-1 against Kansas City in the regular season.
Yeah.
But they haven't beat them yet in the postseason. Do you add any significance to Buffalo getting a win over Kansas City on Sunday?
No, I really don't care about the win because they can't beat them whenever it matters. Whenever it counts, they always end up losing against them. So, some people might say that, the referees, everybody be talking about the refs when it comes to the Chiefs and everything. And they do have some calls that kind of go their way, but whenever you're a team that consistently is won like them, that's going to happen. It's just up to you as a player, if you're playing against them, to do your best to not even get in those situations. You know what I mean? To even put the game into the ref's hand. So, no, I don't really care about the win. I mean, it's a big win for them in the regular season. It's always a big win whenever they beat the Chiefs, but it's always a big win for anybody who beats the Chiefs. I mean, you seen the Jaguars some weeks ago whenever they won. You would have thought Lil Duval and all them cats, you would have thought they won a Super Bowl the way they were celebrating on Instagram. So,
For real.
so yeah, no, I don't really care about it. If they were to see them in the playoffs and beat them, that'll be cool to me. I feel like personally, and I feel like everybody kind of feels the same way. Even some of their fan base, I feel like feels the same way. They just beat them in the playoffs whenever it counts. But right now, I mean, it's a good win for them. They got another win under them now. So like I said, I think Buffalo is going to be a team that can possibly go deep into the playoffs like they always do. But I'm not going to just give them. I'm not just going to make it like they just won a championship whenever they're 4-1 against these guys in the regular season, but never beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I can't put any stock into it, man. They do this all the time. I feel like every time the Bills play the Chiefs in the regular season, they win. That's just what it is. I'm not trusting Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes in a playoff scenario. I don't even think the Chiefs are that good. That's not even me big up in the Chiefs right now. I seriously don't think the Chiefs are that good. Y'all can go back and check the tape before the season started. I said, I don't think the Chiefs are that good. I think they're okay. They still got Mahomes and they still got Andy Reid. That's why I still would put any stock into them. Outside of that, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust nobody on the defense. I think Chris Jones is reclining. I don't trust anybody on their offense. Travis Kelce isn't what he used to be. And none of their receivers can catch on the Chiefs. I think they got speed guys, Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown. They don't have any guys to go to. Juju Smith-Schuster still getting those go-to balls on third down. I know they got Rashee Rice back, but I got to see what he's going to look like in this offense before I just fully believe in him. Will they be a playoff team? Yes. I'm not saying Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs, but I picked the Broncos to win the division before the season started for a reason. I think the Chiefs aren't just that good. Before I go to the NFC, in the AFC, there's been surprise teams like the Broncos to some, not a surprise to me. Colts have been a surprise to everybody sitting at 7-2. Adding Sauce Gardner, they're even better. New England, one of the biggest surprises, even though they played a cupcake schedule, 7-2 on the year in front of even Buffalo. Out of those surprise teams, do you give any of them a real chance to make any noise in the playoffs as far as like winning the AFC? Talking about the Patriots, the Colts, the Broncos, any of those teams, or are we still looking at the Chiefs or Bills maybe coming out the AFC?
Out of any of those teams, I'll probably say the Colts. I'll say the Colts. Possibly.
Colts are scary, man, because they can run that ball.
They're a scary team, man. And, looking at the Broncos team, they're really good. I love their defense. I just feel like, personally, I feel like they're a very young team.
You don't trust Bo Nix. It's the same reason I got reservations about him.
Yeah, I don't.
I got to see Bo Nix in a playoff scenario before I just say, yeah, the Broncos are good enough to go off and take off and win the AFC.
Yeah.
I need to see Nix in a playoff scenario. They beat my Texans, so I ain't going to talk about them too much. But they beat us with a backup quarterback, and it was just a field goal competition. They just went back and forth on field. It was 18-15. So I still have questions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. The Patriots, I like how they're built as a team, but I really feel like the Colts team is really they're a team that's just kind of built to go far into the playoffs just because they're going to run the ball. They're going to, and it's not too many teams that's going to be able to stop them, man, running that ball. Jonathan Taylor is a grown man. I mean, he's a beast.
Yep.
You know, they got one of the better O-lines in the league, honestly. And that weighs down on a lot of defenses. So that's why I say the way they're built, they can go deep off into the playoffs. And they kind of got a sneaky good defense, I would say. I feel like their defense not really just talked about a lot, but they got some guys on the defense that can make some plays. You know, their defense allows for them to be in every game.
Yeah.
They probably might not be statistically one of the best defenses in the league, but they're nowhere near one of the worst.
No, definitely
you know
not.
what I'm saying?
Definitely not.
Yeah, so they keep their offense, they keep their team in every game. And with the offense that they got, they can pass and can run the ball. Like they're really built to be one of those sneaky good teams in the playoffs that can upset someone like the Chiefs or any other team like Buffalo, for example, who probably, you know, I'll say in the last few years, they'll probably get the head nod as to, I think they'll possibly win that game. But the Colts can be one of those teams that can sneakily beat one of these teams in the playoffs and upset somebody, and we really weren't expecting it. You know what I mean? So I would say out of those three teams, the Colts, but the Patriots is a really good team as well. I just feel like, kind of like how I feel with the Broncos. I don't really trust their quarterback yet as far as in a playoff situation. And that's not to say that I trust the Colts quarterback in the playoff situation as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't trust him. But at least we've seen him in the playoff. You know what I'm saying, before. So, and like I said, if I feel like he's struggling in a game in a playoff, I'm just going to take the ball out of his hand and we're just going to run the ball. Yeah, we got the number one rusher in the league with Jonathan Taylor. So how many teams can stop him?
And that's the point. It don't really matter if Daniel Jones is going to go out there and throw for 300-400 yards. If Jonathan Taylor, it's what we just watched the Eagles win the Super Bowl doing it. Jalen Hurts didn't throw for 200 yards in no games besides the Super Bowl. But how did they get there? Because we're going to run the ball with Saquon, and you got to figure out a way to stop that. Colts are the same thing. We're going to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, and you got to figure out how to stop that. I think I'm like you. I think the Colts are the most dangerous team out of all of those. I just don't trust their quarter. It's the same problem with all of them, the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Colts. I don't trust their quarterback. I can't definitively say that the Colts can beat the Chiefs in the playoff game or can beat the Bills. I'm even going to throw the Ravens in there. I think the Ravens are about to sneak back and come and win a bunch of their games and get right into this playoff, possibly even win the division, because the Steelers are just barely skating by a winning game. They're just waiting on the other team to mess it up. That's how the Steelers are winning games right now. They're not even really going out and just winning football games. That's what I'm used to seeing from the Steelers. 8-8 football, just good enough to be decent. I think they're the same type of team right now with the Steelers. So I think Baltimore can even come back and win that division, even though they're sitting at 3-5 right now. When I seen the stories of Lamar Jackson taking all the TVs and the ping pong tables and everything out of the locker room, no entertainment. He said, I made the equipment staff take everything out because we don't need to be focused on anything but football. That's when I'm like, okay, yeah, I believe in the Ravens. I think they're going to be able to still make some noise. Lamar is still Lamar. His first game back, they blew out the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins are just, I mean, they're just terrible. I don't know what's going on with the Dolphins. I don't know how they fired their GM, Chris Ballard, but somehow Mike McDaniel still has a job. That doesn't make any sense to me with the Dolphins. I think everybody needs to go in the Dolphins, starting with Tua, and just kind of go down the list from there. Right after him, Mike McDaniel, get rid of him. I've been saying it for 2 years. I'm never going to trust a head coach, NFL coach that vapes. It just doesn't make sense. That's something for 16-year-olds, and you are a grown man trying to lead other grown men, and you vaping on the sideline. That's never going to sit right with me. It doesn't make any sense. Then he says he stays up and plays Fortnite and Call of Duty with Tua. Well, y'all finna have a whole bunch of time to play Fortnite and Call of Duty in just a couple of weeks. Just give it some time. Y'all will have a whole – it's going to feel like summer break in just a minute because y'all both finna be looking for a job in Miami. But, yeah, the AFC is confusing right now. The top quarterbacks are on none of the best teams. The Bills are 6-2, but I think the Bills are honestly worse than the Chiefs and the Ravens. And I know that they've beaten the Chiefs and the Ravens. I just don't see – there's nobody that jumps off the page outside of 17 when you look at the Buffalo Bills play. Nobody on the defensive side of the ball makes a big impact. Nobody on the offensive side of the ball makes a big impact besides Josh Allen. So I just don't see them winning. In the NFC, it's a little more confusing. Outside of Philly Do you have any teams that you trust in the NFC? Philly sitting at 6-2, Green Bay's 5-2-1, right there with Detroit, who's 5-3. I don't trust Green Bay or Detroit. I trust Detroit more than Green Bay because Green Bay, as soon as you start thinking they're good, they'll have a game like they did this past weekend where they lose to who? They lose to the Panthers. I just don't understand why Green Bay can't play consistent. So for that reason, I don't really trust them like that. You look in the South, Tampa Bay, they're 6-2. Okay, they're a decent team, but that's just about it. And in the NFC West, you have three teams, the 49ers, who I think are going to fall off because of injury, and then the Rams in Seattle, who I think are good. I don't know if they're good enough to take them over the hump. Who do you trust outside of Philly, or you could even take Philly out of that in the NFC because I don't know who to trust right now.
Man, to me, the NFC wide open because I don't really, I can't really say if I trust Philly all the way. I mean, if I do, it's only because they're defending champions. But I do got teams that I like in the NFC, but I can't really say if I trust them. And a lot of it just comes from I just haven't seen enough yet. I could say one of the teams you just mentioned, though, the Seahawks, I really, really like them.
Yeah, Seahawks are nice.
I think they're a very dangerous team. They might be the most dangerous team in the NFC. Even more dangerous than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who coming into this season, I feel like that they were one of the dangerous teams. And they still are. But I'm kind of giving the edge right now to the Seahawks and even the Rams. The Rams, man, they're just a team full of, they got veteran play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they also got young players that's being led by them veterans. And so I like the Rams as well. But yeah, I don't really have nobody that I really just outright trust to come out of the NFC right now. The Detroit Lions, I kind of trust them. They got the resume, in the last few years to show. But I don't really know, They just lost yesterday, I think. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. A lot of these teams, man, when it comes to the NFC, man, it's just so wide open because you got the teams that are good and you got the teams that are really bad. But the teams that are good, they can be really bad on any given Sunday.
Yeah, it's so wide open in the NFC. It's really the same thing we're seeing in the AFC, but the NFC, I'm with you. I like Seattle. I think Seattle, not as far as going to the Super Bowl, but if we're just talking about really good teams in the NFC, I'll put Seattle up there. I got them right there next to the Rams, maybe a tier below the Rams because the Rams have Matt Stafford, so I always got to put them above them. But Seattle, I think they're better than Tampa Bay. I know they played Tampa Bay earlier in the year, and it was a shootout game, 38-35 to Tampa Bay won. But if they run that game back in the playoffs, man, I'm taking Seattle. Their defense is coming into form now. D-Law, Leonard Williams, one of your guys, Byron Murphy out of Texas, has been a monster on that defense. I love their secondary with Devin Witherspoon and with Nick Emanwari, who they just drafted out of South Carolina. I like what the team that Seattle has built. And then Sam Darnold has been one of the more consistent quarterbacks we have in the league this year, kind of piggybacking off of what he did last year. So I like Seattle. Jackson Smith and Jigba is unguardable. Every time they put him in the slot, it's a catch. I haven't seen anybody yet this entire year have anything to do with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that includes Stingley when we played him. Man, I haven't seen Stingley get caught on that many times since he's been in the league, honestly. So with Jackson Smith and Jigba and the way that defense is playing, man, I like what Seattle has going on right now and what they've been able to do. But only time will tell in the NFC and in the AFC. Kind of been back and forth between a lot of these teams on who is building themselves up as the top-tier teams. Like I said, I still put Philly and the Rams above everybody else, but Seattle, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Detroit, all those teams are kind of right there behind them. So we'll be keeping an eye on what's going on in the NFL. Another great week coming up, Week 10 already in the NFL. Crazy that we're already sitting at Week 10 in the NFL. This year is already kind of flown by. I want to switch over, talk about some more football, and talk about a little bit of college football. Seen a lot of great games this past weekend. PJ, your Longhorns got a win against Vandy that they really, really, really needed. I thought Vandy is they're just one of those upset teams. I thought Vandy was going to be able to come in, maybe get an upset. Man, they handled them boys, but obviously at the end of the game, we seen Vandy start to creep back into the game. They dang near tied it up. They came all the way back.
A lot of that.
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of that though, man. We got to speak on the SEC officiating. If you I don't know if you watched that game, bro.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC officiating is awful.
Yeah, I keep seeing everybody
They
complain
called it.
about it all year.
You got to go back and watch the. If you did not watch the Vandy game fully, go back and watch it, bro. It was horrible. They literally called a 2-point conversion. They said that he got the 2-point conversion and the ball never even passed the pylon.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen that play, and I was kind of confused about that.
It was a 3rd and 8 play where Diego Pavia was able to get out the pocket. First off, Colin Simmons, he was killing him, but he was getting held like every play. The referee was right there, and they didn't even call it. Then it was a defensive PI. It was a pass interference with Emmett Mosley III, and they didn't call that. Like it was just a bunch of just caught. Man, that game was for sure a blowout. Yeah, it was a blowout, but I'm really struggling with the SEC officiating, man. We already seen what's the guy? I forgot his name. Not Donahue, but one of the referees.
Mm-hmm.
He's suspended right now because of the Georgia and Auburn game. He's really the reason why Auburn got two of their losses this year was because of him.
Dang.
So I'm really starting to look like, because I mean right now, man, with everything that's going on in the sports world with this gambling and the point shaving and
Yep.
That they actually got the spread. They was able to get the spread. Vanderbilt was able to get the spread on Saturday. The spread was 3.5.
Yeah, it was 3.5. Yeah, they did.
And they was able to get the spread. To me, that's just not a coincidence. I don't know. I don't want to just assume and make assumptions, but I would say we need to start looking into the SEC officiating crew because something's going on. I really don't know, man. I mean, even with the Mississippi State game on Saturday, that game, I forgot who they played this past Saturday, but even that game, just terrible officiating. They got to do better. I don't know what they need to do, but they got to do better. I'm looking forward to the Georgia game whenever we go down there to Athens in 2 weeks, but I'm scared that the officiating down there is going to be awful. You know what I mean? So I just really want to just tell the referees, just don't be the reason of an outcome of the game. Let these boys play it out. You know what I mean? And call the right calls if you can.
Yeah.
You know, it's enough of y'all out there that y'all should be able to make the right calls at all times.
Yeah, I mean the referee, and they definitely got to fix that, especially when guys start getting suspended and they got to start searching and looking. We can't trust nothing. With the way this gambling stuff is, like you said, the sports betting, you can't trust nothing. Everything has to be questioned at this point. There's guys you think of upstanding citizens like Chauncey Billups, and he out here pulling the okie doke on people in poker games. So you can't trust nothing that we see right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's a suspect until proven innocent with this sports betting stuff. If anything starts going wrong, we're going to look at it. But Texas getting the win this past weekend was definitely big for them. I'm going to jump into the SEC in a second because I got a lot of questions about the SEC. Before we do that, I got to look at the new rankings they just put out, getting closer and closer to, the official college football rankings right now. We're just at the AP top 25 still. And this is where I have issue. And this is something I thought I'd never say and I'd never bring up. But I think Texas A&M should be the number one team in the country. And that pains me to say as a Baylor fan and just as a guy that has grown up building, you're not building around A&M, but pretty much A&M being a spot in your college football brain of, hey, no matter what, we hate those guys. I've never liked A&M. I don't like any of the sports. I don't think I've ever rooted for A&M. These guys should be the number one team in the country because they have more quality wins than Ohio State. And I get it. Ohio State beat Texas at the beginning of the year. But anybody that watches football can attest to that Texas team in week 1 is not the same Texas team right now in week 8 or week 9, whatever week we're in. Those aren't the same two Texas teams. That's a completely different team. And, yes, they beat them, and you got to give them credit for that. But after that, who do we give them credit for beating? Illinois? Does anybody think Illinois is still good? I know they got a lot of hype before the season. I was included on that hype. I thought they'd be a good team. Illinois is now 3-3 in the Big Ten. I don't think highly of the Big Ten like that outside of the top 3 or 4 teams. I think the rest of the Big Ten is pretty mid. So Ohio State doesn't have many quality wins outside of the Texas win, and I'm still giving them credit for the Texas win. I'm not giving them credit for beating Wisconsin. Not giving them credit for beating Penn State that's been terrible. Penn State's 0-5 in the Big Ten right now. They fired their coach. Nobody knows what's going on. We're going to talk about the coaching vacancies. Indiana, they played great, and I like Indiana. They got wins over Oregon. I think that's a big win. But same deal with Ohio State. The Big Ten is so bad outside of the top 5 teams that they can't even get quality wins. There's nothing Indiana or Ohio State did. It's just their schedule. And it's just the Big Ten being garbage, honestly, outside of those top couple teams, like I said. So I have a question mark with that. A&M, when you're undefeated and you play in the SEC, I feel like you automatically should be number 1. The SEC is a completely different monster than the Big Ten. And I know they don't have giant wins. They're getting ready to play. They're going to play Texas at the end of the season. But I think Florida's a quality win. I think Notre Dame is definitely a quality win with them beating them earlier on in the season. And LSU, despite them struggling, I think is a quality win. When you go into Death Valley and you smash LSU, it wasn't like they left the game to be close. They killed them. They took them all the way out. They put the final nail in the coffin on their season. I think A&M has got to get a little more credit, and it only really made me bring it up is because in the AP Top 25, they only got 1 vote for number 1. 1. Indiana got 11 number 1 votes. Ohio State got 54 number 1 votes. What's your thoughts on that, on the top 3 in the top 25 right now with A&M sitting at number 3?
I mean, they got, when it comes to A&M right now, the win against LSU, that was a good win at LSU. It's always hard to go down to Death Valley and get a win. The Florida game was a good win as well.
It's decent. Notre Dame, I ain't putting too much in Florida.
I'll say it's decent. Yeah, I'll say decent. Let me not say good, but decent. The Notre Dame game was good. Notre Dame is still a really good team. Yeah. Still a top 12 team to me, for sure.
Yeah,
LSU right now, LSU that was a good win, man. But LSU really just
they ain't all that.
This year, they're not all that. I don't know if you really want me to be honest. I feel like A&M has one of the weaker SEC schedules.
Probably the weakest
this year
out of everybody.
They got the weakest for sure. I mean, even Arkansas got a very, very difficult.
Arkansas might have the hardest. They're in Florida.
They probably got the hardest. Us as well. Having to play a ranked Vandy, then ranked Georgia, then got to play Arkansas. That's nothing but then having to backdoor and play A&M for the last game of the season. So, I'm not too mad at A&M not being number 1. I think the biggest thing is, I do agree with you. The Big Ten is just very weak right now. The Big Ten really isn't carrying their weight.
Terrible.
They're not carrying their weight at all this season. Most of the ranked games that you see is from the SEC. It's some from the Big 12. So the Big Ten right now is just terrible. Ohio State and Indiana both aren't playing any ranked teams for the rest of the season.
It's a joke.
Yeah, because Michigan isn't ranked. So, yeah, they both not playing any ranked team. They're not playing each other possibly until the Big Ten championship game. So, I don't know, man. The Big Ten is awful. The SEC is really good, so you do got to give credit to A&M for that, for even having an undefeated record right now in the SEC. But I don't know. I mean, I could argue that they should have more votes as far as for if they should be number 1 because they are a really good team. Their offense is hitting on all. I'm talking about their offense is crazy. I can't wait for us to play them. Marcel Reed, KC Conception, all those guys, Mario Craver, like they got some guys, man. So they're rolling right now for sure. But like I said, I don't really know, man. I guess you keep Ohio State at number 1. I'll say the biggest thing that I am mad at right now is because Texas moved up to 13, but they got Oklahoma at 11. And at some point, I'm trying to figure out. I know I'm not tripping because I was at the game. Texas beat Oklahoma.
Yep.
Just a month ago.
Beat them.
And beat them very soundly. Like that game was very easy for Texas. So I'm trying to figure out when is like when the head to head is gonna kick in. When does that matter? Whenever we've gotten on the gridiron and we played each other and we won. You know?
Yeah, I think
So
I
don't
think
really,
y'all schedules is our strength of schedule, our strength quality wins and all that is just about the same between them. But then you got the
yeah,
head to head, so I would give Texas the edge in that. That don't really make
the
much sense
edge
to
and
me.
that. Yeah, and I'm not saying that we need to be like, because I really don't want us to be highly ranked, honestly, until we go and play Georgia and we see how the outcome of that game is.
Yeah, and Alabama
So
and OU got a tough schedule. They finna play Alabama in a couple of weeks. Then they got
Alabama,
Mizzou, and then they got LSU
yeah,
to close the season out. So I don't even know if Oklahoma will still be in that same position. And I think their
in this
schedules are even.
position.
It's just if you had to go, if there's a tiebreaker, it's them playing in the game and Texas not letting them score a touchdown. I think you definitely put
Yeah,
Texas in front of OU. That's probably really my only gripes, and that wasn't even much of a gripe with A&M because, like I said, I hate A&M still. I'm gonna still hate A&M.
yeah,
I just think SEC is tougher. With the Big Ten being so bad, something about it irks my nerves. The two Big Ten teams are number 1 and 2, knowing that they don't play each other and neither one of them even play a meaningful game until the Big Ten championship. So that's kind of strange to me that they would be in front of them. Bama and Georgia being at 4 and 5 makes sense. Oregon, Ole Miss is 6 and 7. That makes sense. BYU and Tech let the Big 12 get some love there and get two teams in the top 10, and also Notre Dame closing it out at 10. I think that's pretty decent as well. But in the SEC, there's been question marks about a couple of teams. There's been some up and down seasons. Obviously, at the head of all of that has been the team we just been talking about in the Texas Longhorns. With Texas having a couple of games left, 3 games left, 2 of those 3 include top 5 teams, one against Georgia, at Georgia, A&M to close out the season. What chances do you give Texas to make the playoffs? Because most of the time, at least my rule, in the SEC, I think when you get 3 losses, you're pretty much out of it. I think there can be some exceptions to that because the Big Ten is going to be just so bad. They'll still get 3 teams in. Indiana's going to make it no matter what. Ohio State's going to make it no matter what. And Oregon, as long as they win out the rest of their games, they're probably going to make it too, and they're not even going to have to play in a championship game because they'll have a worse record than Indiana and them. So Oregon will make it as well.
mm-hmm.
With the SEC having so many good teams, what chance do you give Texas to be able to make the playoffs with still having Georgia to play and A&M to play?
I feel like we still got a high chance to make it in. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it, and they're like, everybody been talking about, oh, what if Texas ends the season at 9-3? And I'm just kind of confused because why y'all already adding an extra loss in there whenever we haven't played any of these games?
Yeah.
We still got these games to be played. If I was any player on the Texas Longhorns right now, I would take that as a disrespect that y'all are going ahead and automatically just saying, oh, well, y'all going to drop one of these next 3 games. Whenever there's still a strong possibility that we can go in and win all 3 and finish at 10-2. We finish at 10-2, possibly get a position in a SEC championship game. And even if you don't, that's cool. You won out, so you're gonna be in the playoff anyway.
Yeah.
So, even let's say we did win out, we beat Texas A&M in the last game. They're gonna be 11-1. They'll be 11-1. That'll be their first loss in the season. Alabama possibly will still only have 1 loss in the season. So it'll most likely be Alabama and Texas A&M in the SEC championship game. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Now we go 9-3. I don't really know. I can't really say. To me, I feel like we'll be right outside the top 12. So 13. But at the same time, like you said, the Big Ten is going to get 3 teams in automatically with Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. The Big 12 only going to probably get 1 to 2 teams, maybe 2 teams at max.
Yeah, that's
but
max.
I'm leaning more. Yeah, 2 teams at max, and 2 of those teams could possibly be the 2. I mean, they're finna actually play each other this week, and that's Texas Tech and BYU.
Yep.
So, those 2 teams, one of them probably will probably get in for sure. I can't really say 2 for sure, but I know for sure 1 team out the Big 12. So we're at 4 teams now. The ACC, ACC probably get 2 teams. It's so wide open for the ACC right now. I thought Miami had it, but I'm not really sure. I'm not sure who coming
Usual
out the
Miami.
ACC now. Yeah, I don't know who coming out the ACC. So probably 1 team coming out the ACC. So that's 5 teams. Now, when you start looking at the SEC, I mean, you got Ole Miss, you got Georgia, you got you got Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Alabama, Texas. You got Oklahoma.
Yep.
That's like all those teams can possibly get in, and then Notre Dame is going to get in. So I really feel like the SEC has a chance to at least get about five teams in for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to keep.
It's gonna be 5 teams because Ole Miss has to go in, even if they don't play in the SEC championship game. You have to put Ole Miss in, and then you have to put Alabama in if they win out.
Yeah,
and they're gonna
tough.
go for the SEC championship game.
I think Ole Miss is gonna win out. They probably had the easiest remaining schedule. They play Citadel this coming up week, and then they play Florida and Mississippi State. So I think they're gonna win out. Georgia, just based off what I've seen right now, I'm picking Georgia to beat Texas. But obviously that's a flip-flop game. Either one of those teams can win in that game. But then after that, they got Charlotte and they got Georgia Tech, who's good, but I still think they're gonna beat Georgia Tech. So I think Georgia will get in. Bama only has 1 loss so far in the season. That was a non-conference loss, so they're undefeated in the SEC. They've still got multiple games that are going to be big. Obviously, LSU this weekend. It's always a big game when you play LSU, even if they're on the down year. They still got OU and they got Auburn, and you never know what's going to happen in the Iron Bowl. So it's going to be tough to leave any of these teams out. As of right now, I still think Texas has a chance to make it. I just don't know if they get that 3rd loss, will they let them make it? Because that means Georgia will probably be in, Bama will probably be in, Ole Miss I'm already putting in there. And the 4th team out of that could be Texas, but it depends on how the voters are feeling. What if Virginia wins out the rest of their time? And they're sitting at number 12 right now. They're 8-1. The ACC can kind of mess it up because they can throw some teams in there, even though I don't think they're that good. I think Virginia will probably lose to 10 out of the 16 teams in the SEC, but it don't matter because they ain't playing SEC teams. Louisville's sitting at 7-1 right now. Georgia Tech is sitting at 8-1 right now in the ACC. I think this is probably the best year for the ACC as far as how many teams are going to make it. I think they got a chance for 3 or 4 to make it out of the ACC. So, man, it's going to be tough. They're going to have some tough decisions to make. The crazy thing about the SEC is anybody can lose any week. So we'll make these judgments now and say, oh, we could put this team in, but we don't know where we're going to put any of these guys because what if Georgia goes out there and loses to Georgia Tech? What if Bama loses to LSU this weekend? Like, you never know what's going to happen in the SEC, so we definitely have to keep it open because of that reason. And then, obviously, Notre Dame is going to get in no matter what unless they go out and lose another game. And I actually kind of like Notre Dame this year. So it's going to be tough deciding who's going to be in those top-tier teams. So for that, I'll give Texas a chance still. I just don't know how much of a chance they'll have after that 3rd loss, if they get a 3rd loss.
I'll say this, too, with Texas. Man, with the Georgia game coming up in 2 weeks after our bye or whatever, I really feel like that we face up really good against this Georgia team. Georgia doesn't apply any pressure onto the QB, which is the reason why there's one reason why Alabama was able to win. And also a few games that they've had that were close, like this Florida game this past week. With this offense right now with Texas rolling, there's been a few changes. We kind of flip-flopped some guys on the O-line a little bit these last 2 weeks. You kind of seen a difference with Arch not getting as much pressure, definitely in the 4th quarter of the Mississippi State game leading up to, a few days ago against Vanderbilt. And we also finna get guys like Michael Taft back. Jelani got hurt. He just dislocated his thumb. So he's good. He's going to be back. Ryan Wingo is going to be back as well. This bye week came at a really, really perfect time. We got some guys that's going to be coming back going into the Georgia game. So you're going to see a full-powered Texas team going into Georgia, going into Athens. I believe Georgia's going to give us everything that they've always had, just like last year. They're going to play really good against us. But I don't think that the thing with this Texas team where to me makes us probably one of the more dangerous teams in college football right now is because athletically and talent-wise, we match up against everyone in college football, even Ohio State. When we playing at our best, athletically and talent-wise, nobody has more talent than us. So whenever we can put it all together like we have recently, you kind of see glimpses of what we could possibly be. And Arch is getting better right now with this play action pass. Play action that we've been doing, we've been running everything out of play action, and he's looking really good. We sent our co-offensive coordinator up into the box, so he's able to see more now. Sark is going deep off into his playbook right now with some of these plays he's running. I mean, I've seen him run, I think, a double reverse on Saturday with Ryan Niblett. So we in our bag right now, man, and I really just don't think that I really feel like they were extremely slept on. A lot of people did not watch that Vanderbilt game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really want people to go back and watch that game. If they didn't, go back and watch that game. This is a very dangerous team. We got all our guys right now in the running back room back. We got CJ and we got Trey. So we're looking really good, man. The receivers are looking really good. Emmitt Mosley, the Stanford transfer, he's looking really good. He's kind of coming into it. I think in the last 2 games, he's had like 9 receptions, 122 yards, 3 touchdowns. DeAndre Moore had a big game on Saturday. Ryan Wingo is just in his bag. I mean, 2 weeks in a row, first play of the game, 62 yards against Mississippi State and then 75 yards against Vanderbilt this past Saturday. So he's rolling. Parker Livingston, kid out of Lovejoy that I was talking about before the season, he's pretty much almost unguardable, sitting at 6'5", 220 pounds. He's a monster. We still haven't even really opened up the playbook for Jack Injuries, our tight end from Cal that we got. So we're looking really good. And with the defense that we got, we have a national championship defense. I feel like that we can really play up against anybody. So I'm just saying for the Georgia game, I've been seeing a lot of people like, oh, they're going to drop that game. It's in Athens. They're going to drop that one. I can guarantee that we can be – we played at Ohio State. A lot of these boys that's on this team played at Ohio State and played at Michigan last year.
Yeah.
So there's no stadium in the SEC that's rocking more than those two that I just named.
No.
It's none. It's none. No SEC. No SEC. Not even LSU.
Yeah, I think Texas is a live team. I think they're dangerous, like you said. My only issue with Texas is there's no more wiggle room. If you're losing the games, you're just about out of there.
It's over.
And you playing your hardest 2 games possibly of the season last, which is a good and bad thing because you get a chance to measure up and see, hey, you're playing your best football. Like you just said, Archer's playing better, all those things. But you're going to play some real dogs. You get to play Georgia. And A&M, like I said before, I don't like A&M. I've never been an A&M fan. But they got a squad this year. Their defense is one of the best in the nation, and Marcel Reed is a game changer. He can blow up a whole defense in one play like we've seen him do in every big game so far this year. So that's going to be a huge game when it comes down to the end of the season with them.
No disrespect to A&M.
Yeah, go ahead.
No disrespect to them. I'm sorry, but I'm not really too much worried about A&M. I feel like that we face up really well against them. I'll be forgetting that their fan base, they're not used to prosperity. So they've been kind of talking crazy in the chats and everything, but that's fine. Just remember that we playing y'all at home. Y'all got to come to us.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one.
We traveled last year. I can guarantee you that when they come to Austin to play us, DKR going to be rocking.
Oh, it's going to be insane. It's going to be insane.
And I can't wait. I can't wait till that Saturday. I might go down and just tailgate because I just want to just be around the atmosphere. It's going to be a huge game. This could possibly be a top 10 matchup by that point if Texas was able to beat Georgia and Arkansas if they handle business and beat those 2 teams going into that game. This could possibly be number 3 versus, I'll say maybe like number 8, number 7.
Yeah, it'll probably if they go undefeated, that means they'll beat Georgia. They'll definitely be a top 10 team. And the same with A&M. If they go undefeated, they should at that point
beat
have
Missouri this Saturday.
Yeah, if they beat Missouri, they got to be number one in the nation, man. I'm sorry, they got to be number. If they beat Missouri, they got to be.
They're going to Missouri.
Yeah,
they're going to Missouri too. So
at Missouri,
yeah, that's going to be a really good game too. That's a sleeper. That's a sleeper too. So
that's a really good.
Yeah,
game
we got some games coming. That's a really good game. I'm watching that one for sure.
That's probably the best game of the weekend outside of that Tech and BYU one. That's probably the best game with A&M and Mizzou.
Yeah,
especially with the most stakes. If you're talking about most stakes on the game, that's definitely right up there.
You know a game though that slept on as well though, man. Oregon versus Iowa. Oregon got to go to Iowa.
Yeah, I seen, and that's going to be my determining of, hey, is Oregon for real or not? If y'all go out here and play around with Iowa and sneak out of there with 3-point win maybe, or even mess around lose this game,
Iowa's still 6-2. Yeah, Iowa's still 6-2, and Iowa still has a really good defense.
They got a good defense. Iowa's 6-2, but they play like man, what was the team used to have all the Samoans back here in Texas back in the day?
Are you talking about Trinity?
That's how they play football. Man, that 1950s offense, I don't know if that's going to work on. If Oregon get beat by that, then Oregon ain't good. That's all I'm saying. I respect them, but they running that old. We at the end of the season, their quarterback got 4 touchdowns.
What you think about the Navy?
Come on, bro.
What you think about the Navy versus Notre Dame game?
I think if Notre Dame doesn't curb stomp them, then I'm out on Notre Dame too. I respect Navy and what they do every year, but come on, man, you playing dudes that's finna go serve the country. You need to smack these guys if you want to have a chance to get back to the college football playoffs like you just did. I know they 7-1, but it's the 7-1 Navy. It's the reason they 7-1 and they ain't ranked. And I rock with Navy, but come on, C.J. Carr and all these guys, Jeremiah Love, y'all got to kill them. Y'all got to take them on out. It's got to be right now. They 26-point favorites in the game. It's got to be something like that for me to take that serious. That means Vegas thinks that y'all are gonna kill those dudes. Let's talk about these coaching vacancies real quick before we get off of here. You got Penn State, you got Florida State. I think coming up with the way they've been, just their whole season just falling completely apart. Mike Norvell has to be gone. Florida's open. LSU is open. Virginia Tech is open. But as you said at the beginning of the show, who are the coaches? Who are these people finna hire? Maybe a Nick Saban coming back to LSU, some type of love story. Okay, cool. Maybe you could say that. But who are the rest of these people going to hire? It's not a big coaching pool. Matt Rule just re-upped. Everybody was talking about Matt Rule going to Penn State. He just re-upped in Nebraska. Everybody wanted Kirsinetti. He just re-upped at Indiana. Everybody want Lane Kiffin. They're about to re-up on him. And then, like you said earlier, I don't see him really making a move. Now, if an LSU, maybe not LSU because you're still living in Louisiana, it's down the street. But Florida's got the most resources out of all them schools you just named. I could see if they throw a bag, it's going to have to be a major bag for him to leave Ole Miss and go to Florida and try to rebuild that program. But who are the coaches that these guys are going to hire? Everybody's going right out and fire people like Steve Sarkisian said in his interview a couple days ago. But who is going to fill in some of these jobs? I would have said Deion Sanders if they weren't getting beat by 50-something every single week. He could have been up for one of them jobs. But I don't know who these teams are going to fill. Who are some of the guys that you think are going to fill in? Because I don't know. I don't know who's going to fill in some of these jobs. I think there's a couple coaches. I think the coach at U of H is interesting because no one thought U of H was going to do anything. I think the coach in Memphis is going to be gone. But then are they good enough coaches to lead a top-tier program is my question. I think the coach in Memphis is good. I think the coach at Tulane is good. But are they good enough to make LSU a championship contender? And you can't go out and get a big splash hire if you're at LSU because you're paying Brian Kelly $50 million to sit at the house. So you can't make too big of a splash hire because you don't have enough money to make a splash hire. And that's what that governor was mad. We all seen that governor going off. That's what he was mad about because now you're paying 2 guys. I think they got to get Coach O back at LSU just because you can't afford nobody else. Just go ahead and bring Coach O back in. You already paying him. You already giving. He's still on y'all books. Might as well bring him back in and let him coach the dudes. But who do you see as anybody to fill in some of these spots in these coaching vacancies?
I don't really know right now, man.
I don't know either.
I was looking at the coach at Cal. He has Cal rolling, but I'm not sure if he can really lead a top-tier program.
I would have said Fran Brown, but Syracuse went all the way down the drain this year.
Yeah, it's only because that quarterback got hurt.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
After the season. So they'll be back rolling next year. But I don't think Fran really even want to leave Syracuse. I think he reminds me a little bit of Kurt Signetti at Indiana. They really want to, make those schools be a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man, with the NIL and everything, a lot of people saying, we don't live in the era no more of, okay, this school can throw this coach all his money and he'll leave that school. In the era that we're living in right now with NIL and everything, I mean, the schools, they really just want to keep him. They're just going to throw him a bag, reconstruct his contract, extend his contract. We seen that happen with Kurt Signetti just a few weeks ago at Indiana.
Yeah.
All they did was extend his contract and gave him more money. So, I don't think that's something that's people should even that's not something that I feel like schools worry about anymore. With people coming in, they're gonna poach one of our coaches, you know what I'm saying, and get one of our coaches. I don't really see that era is kind of long going now, man, because it's an equal battlefield right now. A lot of schools that you think, they probably ain't got as much money as this school, they probably got more money than that school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a school like Duke, you can't tell me that a school like Duke don't got more money than Alabama.
Yeah, they right up there. Now, their football program don't have as much money.
The football program don't. The school-wise, so meaning that they got boosters who got just as much money, if not more money, than the boosters at Alabama. If they were all to come together and pitch in, they can get that money to their coach.
I mean, we're looking at Indiana. They're doing it. If Indiana can do it, anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Ain't nothing in Indiana.
Yeah,
if Tech can do it, anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't really know that's why I said some of these guys are firing their coach. I just seen somebody talk about, Clemson need to fire Dabo Swinney. It's like, do you really need to fire Dabo Swinney whenever he's brought you 2 championships? I feel like y'all should, before you do that, though, you need to really look into your coordinators and see what y'all need to do around him to make the team better again. Because, y'all just won the ACC championship last year. And made it to the playoff.
The Clemson one is confusing to me, and I get what you're saying about Dabo, because who are you going to bring in that's going to be a better coach, more proven than Dabo Swinney? You're not going to get nobody a more proven coach. But the reason I think Clemson should consider firing Dabo, 1, you're 3-5 in the ACC. 2, Dabo has the same vibes that other coaches are falling victim to. The Coach Sanders, Coach Saban, the reason he left, Coach Mike Gundy, the reason he got fired. You don't want to you don't want to change and adapt to the times. The tide is going to run you over, and you're going to drown in the tide. You're not going to stop NIL. Dabo is one of those coaches who think, I can stop it. I'm going to prove to America that we can win by just playing hard-nosed guys and getting white safeties out there and cornerback. That's not going to work. It's not going to work, bro. You're going to have to pay people money. It's the same thing going on in Colorado. Coach Prime is thinking, hey, I'm Coach Prime. I'm going to get guys that want to go to the NFL. Hey, that don't even really matter unless you're going to go coach in the NFL. You should be getting guys that are good in college football. You don't want to pay guys, this is the result you're going to get. You're going to get blow out by 50 to Arizona. And Utah. That's what's going to happen if you don't want to pay. Same thing with Dabo. They're getting smacked by anybody they play. We thought it was bad when they almost lost to Troy at the beginning of the year. You just let Duke put up 46 points on you. You let SMU, who was struggling, put up 35 points on you. That's the problem with Dabo. And the last part of it with Dabo is the complaining. It's I guess y'all can fire me if y'all don't like winning championships. You won a championship in 2014, bro. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop bringing it up and saying, because now you like trying to bully them into keeping your job. Oh, I could get fired today. There's a guy that fires people right there. Everybody turn around and look at him. Maybe he's going to fire me. Hey, well, just go ahead and get fired then, bro. Because I'm tired of the complaining every single week. Every week you go out here and lose to somebody you're not supposed to lose to, and then you say, well, in 2017 when I had Deshaun Watson and Mike Williams and all these guys that went to the NFL, we were good. I bet you were good. All those guys are still in the NFL right now. What are you doing right now? What have you done the last 5 years? You won the ACC championship last year because the ACC was sorry. That's why they won. They have 4 losses? You a 4-loss team that got into the – so Dabo, man, it's tough. But I'm agreeing with you, man. I don't know who these guys are going to hire. I don't know who's going to get hired. I'm hoping some guys will get brought up. What I'm hoping is there'll be a trickle-down effect. There's going to be group of 5 schools that their coaches get elevated, which means maybe they'll go in and get a guy from PV's having a great season and elevate him. Maybe they'll pull up some of these HBCU guys and pull them up into the group of 5 and into the Power 5. That's my only hope for me, because outside of that, I don't know what teams are going to do. Certain teams have holes.
Mm-hmm.
What is Oklahoma State going to do? They have no hope of being good. You fired your best coach in history of Oklahoma State. You have no NIL money. You have no current good players. I don't know what you're going to do. And I think they're just about to fall into a Kansas-type spell, what we saw Kansas do in the 2010s, where you just lose every single game. Nobody cares about. I think that's what Oklahoma State is going to, because I don't know what direction they have. So it's tough.
A lot of these teams, what they need to do, what I've been kind of noticing LSU kind of doing with their interim head coach right now, just bring guys that are familiar with your program back around. You know what I mean? Guys who are familiar with the culture, the old culture that y'all had on your teams. So with some of these programs, like Florida, Florida. Who else, man, fired their coaches, man?
Florida, Arkansas, LSU, Virginia Tech, Penn State.
LSU, Virginia Tech,
UCLA.
Penn State. See, and all of these are teams that traditionally have a rich history when it comes to college football.
Yeah.
So you need to get guys who are familiar with the old culture that got y'all to where y'all once were, that made y'all a respectable program. Definitely a Florida, LSU, Penn State, even Arkansas. You know, once before it was a respectable program. So y'all got to get guys that's around, that were around that time, that was around the program, and kind of build within. Because I feel like a lot of these guys are going and they're trying to snag guys who aren't familiar with the culture. Brian Kelly wasn't familiar with Southern Louisiana culture.
That's one of the worst hires in, like, I don't even know when, maybe the last 20 years.
And
Brian Kelly, LSU.
I was mad when we got him. And
I've never met anybody that roots for LSU that liked Brian Kelly. I've never met anybody or heard of it.
Nah. I was upset that we got him, man. I don't want to just put him out there like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, he's one of those guys I can say, and even with Florida, with their coach, he just wasn't familiar with a Gainesville, Florida culture. So you got to get people that's familiar with it, even if it's just a former player. Get some guys that's going to come back around and, try to get y'all programs back up, man, because the times of just trying to go and poach and snag guys from other schools, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot harder nowadays because all the playing field is leveled out now. And so just as much money that you think that your school has, I promise you, a school that probably doesn't have a rich history in football, they still got just as much, if not more money than you, just because now all these boosters, man, they pouring all this money into these schools, into every program, and they're able to pay their coaches. So if they feel like that you're going to come in and poach their guy, they're just going to reconstruct his contract and give him more money.
And that's the best type of deal you can get.
Yeah, because don't let them be a team that's actually good.
Yeah. I mean, if Matt Rule stayed in Nebraska and Kirsten stayed in Indiana, that just proves your point all the way. The money's not going to be able to get guys just based off of the past history of the school. Well, this is a traditional. This is LSU. That stuff don't matter anymore. If I can stay in Nebraska and they going to give me $100 million and in my re-up contract, if you say, hey, if you don't want me to leave, make sure my money's guaranteed so if I get fired, I still get paid. Why would you leave? It just don't make sense. It's an old adage of don't give up some for show trying to get some more. So if I know Nebraska going to give me $100 million, I know Indiana going to give. What am I going to go to Penn State for and do what and lose?
Yeah.
Penn State not just going to magically get good.
Nebraska like what, 5-3?
Yeah, Nebraska is just decent.
It's not bad.
Yeah, they ain't bad at all, and they got resources. Ain't nothing else going on in Nebraska. That's why BYU is good. Ain't nothing else going on in Utah. Everybody going to support and everybody going to come watch that. Same thing in Nebraska. There's literally nothing else in Nebraska. I don't know if they have any other college. I don't know anything in Nebraska. I know they don't have any pro teams. No. I don't even know if they have any other colleges in Nebraska. Maybe some JUCOs somewhere. You get a farming license or something like that. But there ain't nothing else going on in Nebraska. You're the main attraction.
No.
So that makes a huge difference. I think it's just time for some new blood. I know we out of time, y'all. Well, I think it's just time for some new blood in college football. That's all disappointing to me.
For sure.
The Dabo Sweeneys, the Mike Gundys, the Nick Sabans, the Brian Kellys, It's just time out for that.
Trying to get some 30-year-olds into these positions.
Yeah,
man.
because you're somebody that can adjust and adapt to these times. Nick Saban got hired because he knew how to win in 2006 in those times. Same with Brian Kelly. Same with Dabo Swinney. If you don't know how to win in 2025, do not bring a resume from 04 and say, hey, well, look right here. When we beat Arizona, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. That's why Nick Saban got out of here. He seen it wasn't going to work. Nick Saban was used to having all the control. I can control who comes here. I can't let nobody transfer out. I can have a 5-star riding the bench for 4 years. Now with NIL and the transfer portal, coaches don't have all the control. So these coaches are having a hard time adjusting to not having control. That's why Dabo Swinney's getting killed every other week. That's why Mike Gundy got fired from Oklahoma State. That's why I never thought Brian Kelly was a good coach. I can't say that's why he got fired. He wasn't that good at Notre Dame to me. So I don't even know why LSU played around and thought he was going to come in and change something. But, man, it's a lot going on in college football. It's going to be some exciting games. Look, I want to ask you about a couple games real quick before we get off here. We already talked about Texas got to bye. BYU and Tech, biggest game of the week. First time college game days coming to Lubbock. I think since Texas versus Texas Tech in 08, 09, something like that. It's been a long time since college game day has been in Lubbock. They're back in Lubbock this weekend. No idea how this game didn't get moved from 11 o'clock to a night game, but somehow they're still playing it. Top 10 matchup with BYU and Texas Tech. Right now, Tech is a 10.5-point favorite. I think that's kind of steep because I got to see Morton be healthy for more than 2 games. Hasn't done it this entire season. I like Tech in this game. Who you like in this one with BYU versus Tech?
I like Tech as well, but BYU, it's kind of like we were saying, man, whenever, during the Big 12 media days, man, BYU just bigger than everybody.
Yep.
They're bigger than everybody in the conference. And they just weigh on teams as the game continues. Now, Texas Tech does the same. Athletically, I feel like Texas Tech is way beyond everybody in the Big 12.
For sure.
And it's not really that close. But I got Tech, man, but they're going to really have to play very disciplined because that's one thing that this BYU team has shown throughout this season. They're a very disciplined team. I don't think athletically that they're better than a lot of teams in the conference. They just play perfect football, so they don't really make mistakes at all, if any. And if you're a team that's just not as disciplined as them, you will lose against them. And like I said, they're a big team. They remind me of Lake Travis.
Yeah.
Lake Travis was never really just athletic. Yeah, they just big. They were never athletically just better. They just were big and like it was almost like they were like robots. They did everything right.
Facts.
Like did everything right. And they beat us and plenty of other teams because of that. That were athletically better than them. We ran faster than them, jumped higher than them, did everything. But they just were a perfect team. So if Texas Tech doesn't come out and play a perfect game, then they will have another loss, So they need to really come in and just lock in, y'all at home. Yeah, you got college game day there, man. Don't bite, don't bite into all that. Just go out there and play football, man, like y'all been doing the whole season. And y'all are one of the better teams, if not the best team in the Big 12. Go out there and show that. And they could possibly play this team again in the Big 12 championship game, so they need to really keep that in mind as well. But I got Texas Tech coming out with the win. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. It's going to be a nail-biter for both fan bases come Saturday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge game, man. I think it's the reason college game day is coming there because this is, like you said, a preview of the Big 12 championship probably. If Tech wins this and then BYU wins out the rest of their games, they're going to play each other once again. I like Tech in this one because they can run the ball and they got to do it on defense and nobody can stop David Bailey. Dude has 11.5 sacks in, 9 games? So every game he's getting to the quarterback. Every single game he's getting back there. And they got other guys that can get to the quarterback with Romello Height and all those different guys they got out there. Their run game, when the run game is clicking, it's clicking. That's the biggest key for Tech. Can they run the football? When they haven't been able to run the football, they struggled like they did against Arizona State. When they can run the football, I seen Jacoby Williams go for 100-something multiple times this year. Cameron Dickey, he's went over 200 multiple times this year. So they can run the football. If they can run the football well, I think Tech is going to be all right. But that's going to be a huge game, biggest game of the weekend, that Tech versus BYU. So that's a big one. That'll be at 11 o'clock. Folks, we're out of time here today on Centex Primetime. We want to thank everybody for watching with us. So we had a lot to cover, college football, NFL. Make sure you guys go back, rewatch this episode if you haven't. Just hit that subscribe button if you're watching with us on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, like, and share. We've got more MCC sports coming up in the next couple of days. MCC basketball in action tomorrow at 5:30. The men's team in action at the Joe White Classic in Hillsborough, Texas, Friday and Saturday. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that. And, of course, Friday Night Flex this Friday, last show of the regular season here in high school football, 6 to 10 p.m. Make sure you guys tune in right here on Centex Sports Network. Want to thank everybody for watching with us. We'll see you guys tomorrow for MCC basketball at 5:30, MCC versus Blinn. Everybody have a great evening.